Ladies and gentlemen, I get so annoyed, I get so frustrated, I get, quite frankly, so angry at some of the advice that I see out there. It is irresponsible, it's insidious, and I feel like, quite frankly, most of the time it's self-serving to the person who's trying to teach it to you. So today we're gonna cut through all the noise and we're gonna do something very simple. We are gonna show you how to escape the rat race without quitting your 9 to 5. So with that being said, if you want to know the cold hard truth of how to get ahead in life without doing anything that you might come to regret. So today I am going to share something that will completely change the way that you think about building wealth. I am going to show you how to escape the rat race without quitting your 9 to 5. If you look online, you're going to find most people telling you that to achieve financial freedom, you need to quit your job, burn all bridges, and go all in on your business. But I'm going to be real with you guys today. Quite frankly, that is terrible advice. And let me tell you why it's terrible advice. If you've been following me for a while, you will know that I will give you the realistic, no BS advice, not the stuff that sounds great on podcasts and is motivational rah-rah. No, like let's be practical here. Let's actually get you achieving your goals. And the truth is very simple, and that is that putting yourself under that kind of pressure isn't necessary and actually often leads to failure and full burnout. Now, I could easily sit here and say, burn all the boats, go all in. And you know what I would get from most people? I would actually probably get applauded for that. People would be clapping. Sounds motivational, it sounds aspirational. These motivational quotes, they sound great in theory, but they are not based in reality. And in fact, the data doesn't even suggest that it's true. Let's take a look at some of the most successful entrepreneurs and see how they got started, okay? Let's take Jeff Bezos, for example, founder of Amazon, or Phil Knight, the founder of Nike. They built their businesses strategically while also maintaining stability. So in today's video, I wanna give you a clear path forward, and I wanna break down a much smarter approach that lets you build your freedom while keeping your stability. But before we dive in today's video, now I'm gonna show you with some cold hard data and some cold hard facts and some cold hard reasoning why this is a smarter approach to actually build your dream life. But I know a lot of you guys might be wondering, okay, this is great, but what are the actual ways in order to start building online income and escape the quote unquote 9 to 5 rat race? So what I want you to do after this video, complete this video, after this video is check out the laziest ways to make money online in 2025, $100 a day plus methods. Because once you watch this video, this next video will be a great launchpad for the actual nitty gritty. Hey, how do I actually launchpad my online digital career? So don't worry, this video isn't gonna ask you for email or for an opt-in or take you some other weird website. This is literally on YouTube. So I'll leave that as the first link in the description. Watch it after this one. As I said, it is the perfect next step after you've understood the principles I'm gonna share today while understanding the unique opportunity you have with digital products right now. This way, you can start planning your next move and take advantage of this opportunity without having to risk everything. So let's get into it. Now, let me be very honest with you. The whole quit your job and follow your dreams narrative, it sounds inspiring in YouTube videos, but it's just simply not practical for most people. If we want to liken it to something, it's pretty much like trying to dive head first into a lake where you simply don't know how deep the water is. I mean, think about what actually happens when someone quits their job with no concrete plan. First, their savings start ticking down, which creates this level of anxiety and pressure. And then what that leads to is people will get into a scarcity mindset, and then scarcity repels money. Rather than attracting wealth to you, you literally repel it, you force it away. And whether you want to believe in it in a more spiritual, esoteric level, or just thinking more logically, that pressure leads to desperate decisions, including taking on bad clients, undercharging, maybe rushing products to market, and that will never end well. And finally, the mental stress of having no safety net makes it almost impossible to think clearly and strategically. So, this brings me to the first principle that I want you to apply in order to escape the rat race. Principle 1 is before you start, you need a clear plan. Now listen, I'm not talking about analysis paralysis here, spending 6 months or 12 months or 2 years on a business plan. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about having clear strategy on how you're gonna execute on your vision. You see, most people, they fail because they don't have a clear roadmap. They make emotional decisions rather than strategic ones. The smart approach is to plan your exit while maintaining your stability. I mean, let's take a look at Jeff Bezos, for example, one of the most brilliant entrepreneurs of our times. When he started Amazon, he didn't immediately quit his job at D.E. Shaw. He kept working there while developing his business plan, and he only left when he had a clear strategy and initial funding. And how does the story end? Well, we know that. He ended up being one of the richest people in the world and creating one of the most revolutionary and iconic companies in the world, and a company that touches all of our lives today, whether that's from Amazon directly, Amazon Prime, Prime Video, whether that's Kindle, whether that's Audible, all the way down to Amazon Web Services, which countless companies use. In fact, we even use that as some of my software companies. So I can tell you this company has touched hundreds of millions, potentially even billions of lives. And how did he get there? Well, I can tell you he didn't get there by recklessly burning bridges. Or let's take Phil Knight, the founder of Nike. He worked as an accountant while selling Japanese running shoes from his car trunk, and he kept his job while growing his business on the side. And this brings me on to my second principle, which might surprise you, and that is your job isn't your enemy, it is your funding source. I see way too many people viewing their 9 to 5 as something to escape from as quickly as possible. But the smarter approach is seeing it for what it really is, a stable funding for your future freedom. Because your salary isn't just paying your bills, your salary is buying time and funding your exit strategy. What it does is it gives you the breathing room to build something substantial without the pressure of immediate results. And just understand, in your life, there will come a time where you need to burn the boats and you do need to just go all in and focus, but that is only once you have validated and proved to yourself that this can work. Let's look at me, for example. When I first started my agency almost a decade ago, I was still in high school, but I didn't drop out until I was already making about $10,000 per month. I waited until I had proof of concept to take the leap. Let's take a look at another example, Sara Blakely. She is the founder of Spanx. She literally sold fax machines door to door for 2 years while developing her brand at night. She didn't quit until she had her first major order and a deal from Neiman Marcus. And I know what some of you are thinking. You're going, well, I don't understand, Eman. If I keep my job, well, then how will I ever have enough time to build a business? And this is a perfect segue into my third principle. It's very simple. Please keep this in mind. Your work expands to fill the time available for its completion. Let me repeat that. Work expands to fill the time available for its completion. I'm sure you even remember the school or the college days where if you had an assignment, let's say it was 3 weeks out, you would just wait for the last week or the last final 3 days. And this is a well-known phenomenon. It's called Parkinson's Law. It's one of the biggest reasons why quitting your job too early can actually backfire. You see, when you have all day to work on your business, you often become less productive, not more. And by the way, there's cold hard data to actually prove this. And moving away from data, I can tell you from my own personal firsthand experience. I went through this myself. You see, when I was still in school, I had limited time, so I was hyper focused during those few hours that I could work on my business because every minute counted. And even though we understand this, I've seen countless people quit their jobs, suddenly have 10-hour plus days and accomplish less, produce less than when they were working late nights and weekends. You see, having constraints on your time creates urgency and forces you to focus on what truly matters. And you need that at the start. I'm living proof. It's so funny. When I dropped out of school, I would say for a solid 2 to 3 months, my productivity went down, not up. I had all this time in the day now, and all of a sudden, my productivity went down because, once again, work expands through your time constraints. So I went from having to get things done in 2 to 3 hours to now all of a sudden having 12 hours, and I didn't know what to do with myself. And that actually led to procrastination and a lower output. Because as I said, work expands to fill the available time for its completion, meaning the more time you have to complete a task, the less work that you actually do. So, what is the solution if you only have limited time? That is a great question, my friend. And that brings me to the fourth principle. And that is consistent small actions compound over time. You see, this principle is not about working 40 extra hours a week on your side business. Even 5 to 10 hours of focused time per week can create massive results over time. It is much better to consistently put in 1 hour a day than it is to burn yourself out with occasional weekend marathons. What if I told you that there was a way to build wealth that doesn't require you to quit your job until you are ready? A way that lets you use your nights and weekends to create something that eventually replaces your 9 to 5 income. Let me make it clear. We're still trying to replace our 9 to 5 income. We're still trying to quit our jobs. I'm just saying let's do it with a bit of strategy. Let's do it with a bit of logic, a bit of reasoning. And let's not get too caught up with all these motivational pages and this rah-rah, all this stuff. Strategy is the most important thing in business. And what we are doing here is we're applying strategy and moving through life sequentially in the right order. And in order to do that, we need to have the right vehicle to take us to our goals. Now you might be wondering what vehicle can get us there. Well, This is where digital products come in as the perfect vehicle for this. In 2025, digital products represent the best opportunity for someone looking to escape the rat race without taking unnecessary risks. My personal philosophy in life is that I am all about minimizing risks when you are first getting started, because I know how traumatizing it can be to spend all of your hard-earned money on something that simply doesn't give you any results. And I'm saying this as someone with experience in many domains. I have software companies, some bootstrapped, some VC funded. I have a digital product business. I've had service-based businesses in the past, and I even have multiple physical product companies. In fact, I'm wearing one of my companies right now, my eyewear brand that's been running for 4 years at this point. But quite frankly, nothing compares to what's possible with digital products right now. And this is why they are perfect for someone with a 9-to-5. Firstly, they require virtually no upfront investment. Unlike physical products, you don't need inventory, suppliers, or any of that complicated stuff. Secondly, they are completely time flexible. And what I mean by that is that you can work on your digital product whenever you have free time, in the evenings, weekends, lunch breaks, or whenever works for you. And thirdly, there is unlimited scaling potential. You see, your costs stay the same whether you sell to 10 people or 10,000 people without any extra work. And this leads me perfectly to my fifth and final principle. You must identify and seize golden opportunities when they arise. The ancient Greeks had a god called Kairos, and he represented opportunity. Now, what's interesting about him was that he was depicted with wings on his feet and a long lock of hair in front, and funnily enough, was bald at the back. Now, you might be wondering, okay, what does this actually mean? But the symbolism is very powerful. When opportunities fly past you, you must grab them by the forelock, because once it's past, you can never catch it again. And right now, we are living in a Kairos moment with a combination of digital products and AI. You see, the technology to create high quality products online with AI has never been more accessible, and not many people know of it yet. And quite frankly, the platforms to distribute these products have never been more efficient. Trust me, I know this firsthand, and that's why I made a major investment to become a co-owner in a platform called Whop. Because I see this firsthand every single day. In fact, altogether, creators have made over $1 billion collectively on Whop. Actually, I think we're about to cross $1.2 billion that people have made on platform with their digital products. And it doesn't matter what stage of the journey you're in. In fact, just look at how much the average creator makes on Whop. You can literally Google this right now. The average creator on Whop earns $7,382 per month. And the best part of it is that we have people at all stages. We have people on there making $10 million a month. Yes, you heard me correct. People on there making $10 million a month from their digital products. But we also have people making $10 a day. And I know all of this because as a co-owner, I have access to all the backend information and success stories, which means that I get to see real time how quickly this market is growing every month. In fact, I often compare this opportunity to what happened with Amazon a decade ago. In other words, the people who take advantage of this right now will have the biggest rewards. Because like I said earlier, the craziest part of this whole thing is that not many people know about this just yet. And once again, I can prove this with data. I mean, just look at the difference between the number of customers on Whop compared to the number of sellers. In the last month, we had 571,000 customers, but we only had 10,000 sellers. So simply, there's a demand to supply discrepancy. And in addition to this, the hunger for digital products has never been larger because people are simply sick and tired of paying crazy tuition fees to go to universities and learn BS degrees. Now, I know a lot of you guys might be thinking, okay, well, this sounds great, but Eman, I don't have any special expertise to package into a digital product, or I'm not an expert at anything. Or maybe you're even thinking, well, I barely have any free time outside of my job to create something like this. And I will be very honest with you. A few years ago, those would have been very valid concerns, but something major has changed in the last year. You see, AI has completely transformed what's possible with digital products. What used to take months of hard work can now be done in just a few hours using the right tools. And that is the exact reason that I created Monetize, to teach people how to create successful digital products, just like I've been doing for nearly the past 10 years. And before you click away, I don't have anything to sell you here today. I'm genuinely trying to give you context so you can understand what the online landscape looks like right now. You're not gonna find a link to buy anything in the description. We're not even accepting customers into Monetize right now. So please, before you click away, don't worry, I'm not selling you anything. I'm just trying to give you an understanding of the landscape. Because inside of Monetize, we developed a tool called Synthesis AI that builds your product for you without you having to be an expert. It synthesizes all the information that's out there and creates a non-expert digital product for you. And it makes it valuable by focusing on what I call the unique value zone. And what the unique value zone is not your market, not your niche, but the third layer underneath that, okay? This is where you focus on solving a specific and painful problem for a specific audience. Altogether, the traditional barriers that prevented most people from creating digital products while working full-time jobs have completely disappeared. What used to be the hardest part, which is creating the actual product itself, has now become the easiest. And the best part is you can do all of this without quitting your job, without risking your financial stability, without putting yourself under unnecessary pressure. So now that you understand my 5 principles, here's what I want you to take from this video. Build something valuable on the side until it generates you enough income to replace your salary. And like I said, digital products have sped up this process for you, especially now that tools like Synthesis AI exist and make the creation process easier and faster. By the way, this is exactly what I help people do inside of Monetize. Inside of it, we give you the tools, training, and support you need to create a successful digital product without having to sacrifice everything. And by the way, at the time of recording this, we only opened it up 13 days ago, and we already have people crushing it on our verified leaderboards inside of the Monetize WAP. The top spot has already made $33,000 in the first 13 days. But here is the unfortunate news. Monetize is actually closed right now. We're not accepting anyone else. And the reason that is, we closed Monetize to focus on helping our current members build their digital products and make the most of this opportunity. So like I said, unfortunately, or maybe fortunately for you, I have nothing to sell you here today. I'm just trying to educate you on this topic. And I will always speak to you with your best interest in mind in a no BS and blunt approach. I'm not gonna sugarcoat things for you, okay? So the last thing I want you to do is go spend your last few dollars on a course or quit your job without a plan. That's irresponsible. For now, here's the step-by-step I want you to follow. I want you to keep your job for now and use that stability as an advantage, not a limitation. I want you to use your free time to plan how you will start a digital product business that you can count on in the future. And only quit when your digital product income consistently exceeds your salary. And here is the good news for you today, because there's still something powerful that you can do right now to prepare yourself. Remember, I told you earlier to seize the golden opportunities when they present themselves. While Monetize, unfortunately, is closed, the next best step for you right now is to start planning your next moves. And this is exactly why I want you to go watch this video that I'm gonna leave in the first link in the description here on YouTube right after this. Because this video will give you the foundations you need to capitalize on for this opportunity. So that way, by the time Monetize reopens, you are ready to hit the ground running. So with all that being said, I hope you took some value from today's video. I hope you appreciated me being straightforward with you and not just trying to give you some motivational rah-rah BS. With that being said, before you close off, there's something very important I want you to do. I want you to leave a comment down below. I'm gonna be looking at all your comments and just tell me, have you ever experienced Parkinson's law? Basically the principle that the time spent on a task will expand to the allotted amount that you give it. Let me know if you've experienced that firsthand, exactly like what happened to me. And once you've done that, make sure you click on the first link in the description and check out the next YouTube video where we're gonna go a little bit deeper into these topics. And as always, I'm watching from afar and I'm rooting for you.